I was dating my boss online. Meeting in person, that was never going to happen. He didn't even know his online girlfriend was one of his employees. Lately, my boss had been in a bad mood. Everyone could feel it, so everyone had been extra careful. Even the usual breaks had been cut short. The boss had been working crazy hours, and no one dared leave before him. So our workdays had stretched to 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. And I was starting to get dark circles under my eyes. My skin had been looking worse too. To be honest, I felt like I was probably the only one who knew the real reason behind his bad mood. But I couldn't tell anyone. The boss had had his heart broken. And unfortunately, the one who broke his heart was me. He didn't know that though. It all started when my online boyfriend of 2 years wanted to meet up in person. We met on social media. He had posted something asking for advice. Why can't I find a girlfriend? I clicked on it and the post said, I'm a man 6 feet 2 inches, 183 pounds, 25 years old. Ivy League graduate with a master's in management and engineering. I'm currently the vice president of a listed company with an annual salary starting at $500,000. I own a car and a house, but my looks are just average. I've never had a girlfriend. So, what's the issue? The comment section was full of sarcastic remarks. Ugh, someone's fishing for compliments. Is this guy living in a dream world? Ivy League grad, just 25, and already a VP. Come on, get real. At least create a more realistic persona. As we all know, only family-run businesses give young people such high positions. But most of those rich kids study abroad. Being in a playful mood, I commented, maybe it's the looks, post a photo and let's see. Then I closed the app. Not long after, I got a private message from the poster. Hi, can I send it to you privately, though confused? I enjoy some drama, so I replied sure. Then he sent me a photo. I almost spat my coffee out. He said he was 6 feet 2 inches. I believe 5 feet 0 inches. Maybe it was a selfie with his face covered by his hand. And the angle made his head look huge and his body tiny. His hair was sticking up like he just used some kind of hair gel. And he was wearing thick black rimmed glasses, making him look both nerdy and awkward, despite all that his face was actually fine, even though it was partially obscured. I could tell his lips, nose, and eyes all screamed handsome. Still, there was something about him that seemed oddly familiar. Mentally shouted, there are actually guys who don't realize they're good looking, while zooming in and out of the photo multiple times. With my helpful mindset, I typed out a few tips. Your clothes and selfie skills need work. Try frameless glasses, or better yet, wear contacts. Change your shooting angle. Tilt the phone slightly, making sure the charging port leans toward you. Also try pants that are a bit looser, like casual black ones, he replied. Thank you so much. I didn't think much of it and moved on. But the next day, he sent me photos of his makeover, taking my advice to heart. The day after that again. Then it went on for a few more days. I was getting tired of it when he suddenly asked if he could add me as a friend on Facebook and offer me a thank you gift. Someone was offering money. I'd be crazy not to take it. So I gave him my profile link. Moment latte. An account with a familiar profile picture sent me a friend request. Wait, wasn't this my boss? I panicked, almost accidentally accepting his friend request. My heart sank, and I quickly restricted the visibility of all the previous posts on my feed. My brain raced, wondering if I'd somehow linked my private Facebook account to my company info. Meanwhile, he was typing for what felt like forever before sending a message. Thanks for all the help these past few days. Here's a little something for you. And then he sent me $7,000 via MetaPay with the note. Voluntary gift. He was speechless. I compared his profile with the photo he sent me. Yep, it was the same guy. And he was indeed the boss of my company. I couldn't believe the sheer absurdity of the situation. But after some hesitation, I accepted the money after all. He didn't know it was me the following days. I helped him tweak his photos and appearance, and soon he was looking a lot better. But just when I thought I could quietly slip away, this guy confessed to me. First came the long, rambling messages, which I skipped over. Then, at the end, it wrote, actually, there's something I've wanted to say for a long time. I have feelings for you, I replied with an The silence was deafening. Then I sent another thanks. I guess he instantly wrote back, huh? I said I have feelings for you. I wrote, and I said thanks. He insisted no. I'm serious, I replied. I seriously appreciate it. I felt a headache coming on. Was this guy okay? He seemed to pause for a while before asking, regardless, can you give me a chance to pursue you? I didn't reply that night. I couldn't sleep, something that didn't occur often. The next day onward, he started sending me messages every day, wishing me good. Morning, good afternoon, and good evening, as well as updates, like him heading to work, arriving at the office, so this was how he was trying to win me over. So impressive. I occasionally responded with short replies, and he seemed thrilled, like he'd won the lottery. I couldn't help myself, and finally replied, "Please, you should read up on how to talk to women." He wrote, "Huh." Great things took an unexpected turn a month later. I had been browsing videos of handsome guys, and without thinking, shared one with my best friend. But I accidentally sent it to him instead. I wrote hot stuff. Wish I could just lick him. He replied with a question mark. By the time I saw the message, it was already too late to unsend it. It was only natural for people to like looking at pretty things. But for some reason I felt a bit guilty. Just then a message popped up. "Is this your cup of tea?" Then a video arrived. It looked like it was filmed in a gym. The muscles weren't overly bulky, but rather beautifully defined with smooth lines and a pale skin tone. Perfect V-line curved downward, disappearing into the gray workout pants below. As for the top, well, it was very pink. The man in the video seemed embarrassed, and by the end, his face was bright red. I asked, "Got more? Send me some more." The response came, "More shy videos." I had to admit this was working for me. I hadn't expected my usually composed boss to be so well. How should I put it? I found it unexpectedly thrilling. Just as I was enjoying the view, another message came through. "If you agree to be my girlfriend, I'll send you these every day from now on. I'll make sure you don't need to look at others anymore." There were 4 main desires in life that everyone was after: money, power, fame, and lust. First 3 didn't interest me, while the last one was definitely tempting. I replied, "Well, that doesn't sound too bad. It was just an online relationship anyway." Of course there had to be conditions. No public announcements, no couple avatar, no video calls, no real-life meetings. He was, and he thrilled but agreed. And so 2 years passed as he became more stylish. I found myself enjoying his photos and videos more and more. I realized he could pull off all sorts of different looks. Just when I thought everything would continue like this, he suddenly brought up wanting to meet. I quickly wrote back, "We agree not to meet. This is just an online relationship. No real-life involvement," he replied, sounding frustrated. "I know. I'm sorry, but I really want to meet you." I knew exactly what he was after. A couple of days ago, after my university reunion, a classmate confessed to me, turned him down, and then he sent me a bunch of gross, cringe-worthy messages. I ended up calling him out on my social media, then deleted and blocked him. Since I was in a relationship now, this guy could see it. It seemed like he wanted to meet up and make his claim on me in person. Knew why we were keeping this whole thing online. And the answer was definitely no. After a week of him pestering me, I got fed up and told him I wanted to break up. He was utterly shocked, as if someone had just poured cold water on him. My phone buzzed with countless calls. Sighing, I turned my phone face down on the table. Just then my manager, Leah's daughter, called out to me, "Lauren, take this proposal to Mr. Thompson." Everyone at the company knew Leah was into our boss, Benedict Thompson. Normally, she'd be thrilled to interact with him, but recently he'd been in a bad mood. And the last time she tried to comfort him, she ended up being scolded, which was embarrassing. Since then, she'd kept her distance. I winced, forcing a smile. "Mrs. Stoddard, I'm still 1 level below him. Isn't it inappropriate to approach him directly?" Benedict was my online boyfriend, although I had his contact through work. We'd never actually interacted. Plus, this proposal had been delayed for so long because Benedict was unhappy with it. Honestly, even when he was in a good mood, he'd still find fault with things, let alone now when he was clearly upset. This was just her way of pushing me to bear the brunt of the criticism. Leah rolled her eyes. "Just do it and stop yapping." Fine. Even though I had seen almost every part of him online, I was still a bit nervous about meeting in person. Besides, he was known for being strict at work, intimidating even, and extremely sharp-tongued. After hesitating, I pulled out my phone. Since I had suggested breaking up, he'd been sending endless apologies. Clearly panicked, but I hadn't replied. I had only suggested breaking up to stand my ground. And since then, I hadn't looked at his messages. 1, because I didn't want to soften. And 2, to show him I wasn't backing down. There was no way we were meeting in person. Breaking up, though, I wasn't completely against. I thought for a moment, then sent a message. "We can stay together, but can you behave? I really don't like people who don't keep their promises." Replied immediately, "Babe, you finally replied. I know I was wrong. I'm sorry, I won't do it again." Then a crying emoji appeared. I took a deep breath and knocked on the door. The person inside froze, then cleared their throat. come in as soon as I walked in. I was drawn to Benedict's slightly red nose. Had he been crying noticing my gaze? He awkwardly tapped the desk. Is that the proposal? Just leave it on the desk. Can head back. His mood seemed to have improved. Otherwise, he would have scolded me for skipping levels. A colleague had been fired for going directly to the higher UPS, instead of following the proper chain of command. Of course, there were other issues with the colleagues' work. They weren't performing and didn't fully follow orders. It was clear that skipping levels in the office was a major taboo. That proposal still wasn't quite right. So it got sent back. Leah handed it back to me. Left with no choice, I had to stay late to revise it. But Benedict seemed in a better mood today, leaving right on time since it was Friday. All the other colleagues who'd been working late also left early. So soon it was just me and the receptionist left in the office. I wasn't sure how long the revisions would take. So I told the receptionist to go ahead and leave, promising to turn off all the lights and lock up. Hours passed. Suddenly I heard the sound of the door unlocking and I froze, feeling a bit scared looking at the time. I realized it was already 10 p.m. Who could be coming now? I tried to calm myself, telling myself there was no such thing as ghosts. But my heart raced as I held my breath and stayed still. A familiar figure appeared, and when I saw his face, I couldn't help but relax. Was Benedict? What are you doing here by yourself? Aren't you going home? He asked, surprised to see me still working. I gritted my teeth inside. Well, it was his fault. I was still stuck at work at this hour. This proposal is urgent. I'm worried it won't be feasible if I finish it tomorrow. So I thought I'd work overtime to perfect it tonight. Oh, that proposal. Benedict paused, then walked over to me. Let me explain it in more detail. It'll be easier to revise that way. My heart skipped a beat since we reconciled. I had to reply to his message, but I didn't want to keep opening my phone. So I had logged into my Facebook account on my computer. What should I do now? Benedict approached, saying, let me see your screen. My mind raced as I slowly navigated on my computer, just as I had it ready. Wait a second, Benedict said, his voice dropping a register as he leaned over my chair. His hand rested on the edge of my desk, and I could smell his cologne, something sharp and expensive, mixed with the faint scent of black coffee. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. My hand flew to the mouse, aiming for the little X in the corner of the browser window. But in my sheer panic, my finger slipped. Instead of closing the tab, I accidentally maximized it. The screen bloomed with the glaring white and blue interface of Facebook Messenger. Right in the center, in massive font because I had zoomed in earlier to read a document, was my last message. We can stay together, but can you behave? Followed by his reply. Babe, you finally replied. I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Loudly crying face. Time simply stopped. The hum of the office air conditioning suddenly sounded like a roaring jet engine. I stared at the screen. Benedict stared at the screen. Lauren, he said slowly. His voice didn't sound angry. It sounded completely, utterly short-circuited. I can explain, I blurted out, my hands flying up to cover the monitor as if physical obstruction would erase what his 20/20 vision had just permanently absorbed. It's a virus. A pop-up. You know how the internet is these days. He didn't move. He just slowly turned his head to look down at me. His eyes, usually sharp and intimidating enough to make grown executives sweat in board meetings, were wide behind his frameless glasses, the very glasses I had told him to buy 2 years ago. He slowly reached into his tailored suit pocket, pulled out his phone, and tapped the screen. Ping. A new message popped up on my monitor right under my hands. Benedict Thompson, test. I squeezed my eyes shut, a sound escaping my throat that was somewhere between a whimper and a dying laugh. It was over. I was going to be fired. No, worse, I was going to be fired, and then I'd have to block the only guy who sent me premium, high-quality thirst traps on a daily basis. What a tragedy. You, Benedict breathed out. He took a step back, staring at me as if I had just sprouted a second head. You are Spicy Noodles 88? Can we please not say the username out loud? I muttered, sinking down into my ergonomic mesh chair. I made it when I was hungry. You've been in the marketing department this whole time. He ran a hand through his hair, messing up the perfect, expensive styling. 2 years, Lauren. You work 3 floors down from me. I passed you in the lobby on Tuesday. I held the elevator door for you, and you didn't even look at me. I shot back, suddenly finding a spark of defensive courage. You just stared at your phone, probably waiting for my text, ironically. A violent flush crept up Benedict's neck, turning the tips of his ears bright red. It was the exact same shade of red he turned in those gym videos. Suddenly, the terrifying, unapproachable vice president of the company vanished, and standing in front of me was the nerdy, awkward 25-year-old who didn't know how to take a selfie. I was, he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. I was checking if you were still mad at me for wanting to meet up. He paused, his brain clearly connecting the dots. Wait. You knew. When did you know? Day 1. I confessed, burying my face in my hands. When you sent me the $7,000 thank you gift. Your MetaPay was linked to your real name and profile picture. I panicked, but you kept asking for advice, and then you confessed and, well, you offered me the videos. The videos, he repeated. The blush spread to his cheeks. You let your boss send you videos of him in gray sweatpants. To be fair, the lighting in your gym is fantastic. And I did fix your angles. Benedict stared at the ceiling for a long moment, taking a deep, shuddering breath. I braced myself for the firing squad. Instead, when he looked back down at me, the shock had faded, replaced by something entirely different. The corner of his mouth twitched. Then, he let out a low, disbelieving laugh. You threatened to break up with me, he said, stepping closer. The CEO aura was back, but this time, it wasn't intimidating. It was heavily, dangerously focused. On me. You ignore my messages for a week, watch me lose my mind in the office, watch me cry over this stupid proposal because I was so distracted and you didn't say a word? I was trying to keep our professional and personal lives separate. I argued, leaning back. Look at the power dynamic, Benedict. You're the VP. I'm a mid-level marketer. If Leah found out, my career here would be over. I'd just be the girl sleeping her way to the top, even though we haven't slept together, or met, until now. He fell silent, absorbing that. He pulled over Leah's vacant chair and sat down next to me, suddenly invading my personal space. Up close, I could see the dark circles under his eyes, the ones I had caused. Guilt pinched at my chest. I'm sorry, I said softly. I really am. I should have told you. But it started as a joke, and then I actually started liking you, the online you. And I was terrified that if we brought it into the real world, it would ruin everything. Benedict looked at me, his gaze softening. He reached out, hesitating for a fraction of a second before gently tucking a stray piece of hair behind my ear. His fingers were warm. The physical contact sent an electric shock straight down my spine. I'm not going to fire you, Lauren, he said, reading my mind. And I'm not going to let anyone ruin your career. But the online relationship is over. Panic flared in my chest. You're breaking up with me? No, he said, a slow, ridiculously handsome smile spreading across his face. I'm saying we're upgrading. No more hiding behind avatars. No more me begging to meet you. You owe me a real date. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Benedict, we work together. I'm the boss. I'll figure it out, he interrupted smoothly. He stood up, smoothing his tie. Now, pull up that atrocious proposal Leah gave you. If my girlfriend has to work overtime, I'm doing the heavy lifting. The next week at the office was sheer psychological torture. Benedict and I had gone on our date on Saturday. He took me to a quiet, dimly lit Italian place tucked away in the city. There were no awkward silences. We already knew everything about each other. Our favorite movies, our childhood traumas, our opinions on the best pizza toppings. The only new thing was the physical reality of him. Watching him cut his steak, watching the way his eyes crinkled when he laughed at my jokes, feeling his hand slide over mine across the table, it was intoxicating. At the end of the night, he walked me to my door and kissed me. It wasn't a hesitant, nerdy kiss. It was the kiss of a guy who had spent 2 years imagining what I tasted like. By the time he pulled away, my knees were practically liquid. But Monday morning brought reality crashing back. I was standing by the copier when Leah marched up to me, slapping a folder onto the machine. Lauren, she snapped, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against the plastic. Mr. Thompson approved the revised proposal, which means my ideas were exactly what he wanted. He even smiled during the morning briefing. I think he's finally noticing my potential. I bit the inside of my cheek so hard I tasted copper. He was smiling because I texted him a meme about raccoons under the conference table, Leah. That's great, Leah, I said neutrally. I need you to draft the execution strategy by Wednesday, she continued, flipping her hair. And make sure it's flawless. I'll be presenting it to him on Thursday. She was stealing the credit. Typical. Before I could formulate a professional way to tell her to back off, the air in the hallway shifted. The ambient chatter of the office died down. Benedict was walking down the hall. He was in full VP mode, charcoal suit, unreadable expression, radiating authority. 2 department heads were trailing behind him, trying to keep up with his long strides. Leah immediately straightened her posture, puffing out her chest and putting on a dazzling smile. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson," she cooed. Benedict stopped. He looked at Leah, then his eyes flicked to me. A microscopic smirk played at the corner of his mouth before vanishing. "Morning, Leah," he said coldly. Then he turned his full attention to me.
"Lauren."
"A word in my office."
"Now."
Leah's smug smile faltered. "Oh, Mr. Thompson, if this is about the proposal, I was the one who— I need to speak with the person who actually wrote the revisions, Leah." Benedict cut her off, his voice flat. "Which, according to the document metadata and the timestamp from Friday night, was Lauren. Unless you're claiming you broke into the office at 11 p.m. to type it on her computer?" Leah turned the color of spoilt milk. The two department heads exchanged wide-eyed glances. "No, sir," she squeaked. "Good. Lauren, my office." He turned and walked away. I grabbed my notebook, trying to suppress the massive, idiotic grin fighting its way onto my face, and followed him to the executive elevator. As soon as the elevator door slid shut, sealing us in privacy, Benedict hit the emergency stop button. The elevator jerked to a halt. "What are you doing?" I gasped. He didn't say a word. He just crowded me against the wood-paneled wall of the elevator, his hands resting flat on the wall on either side of my head, and kissed me breathless. I dropped my notebook, my hands instinctively tangling in the lapels of his suit. When he finally pulled back, we were both panting. "You have no idea how hard it was to sit through that morning briefing looking at you in that pencil skirt," he muttered, resting his forehead against mine. "You're going to get us caught," I whispered, though I wasn't exactly pushing him away. "I don't care. I'm moving you out of Leah's department." "Benedict, no." I pushed his chest gently. "You can't just casually use your nepotism powers to shuffle me around. People will talk. Let me handle Leah." He frowned, clearly unhappy with being told no. "She's exploiting you. She's my manager. It's office politics. I can fight my own battles. Just let me earn my promotions, okay? I don't want to be the boss's secret pet." He stared at me for a long moment, his jaw ticking. Then he sighed, reaching down to pick up my dropped notebook.
"Fine.
"But if she tries to steal your credit again, I'm stepping in. And you're still coming to my office right now. I bought those expensive imported pastries you like." Keeping the secret became a thrilling, terrifying game of cat and mouse. During the day, we were the model of professional distance. But my phone was a constant war zone of inappropriate messages. He would sit in a glass-walled boardroom, looking furious as he tore apart a marketing budget while simultaneously texting me. "This guy's voice is putting me to sleep. Send a distraction." I'd reply, "Focus, Mr. Thompson. We have a company to run. Benedict, if you don't send me something right now, I'm going to pause this meeting and ask you to bring me coffee." I'd roll my eyes, check my surroundings, and send him a photo I'd taken the night before of me, wearing one of his oversized dress shirts. I watched through the glass as his phone lit up on the table. He glanced down. He froze. He abruptly stood up, cleared his throat, and announced, "Let's take a 5-minute recess." It was intoxicating, but I knew it was a ticking time bomb. The explosion happened 3 weeks later at the annual company gala. It was a lavish affair held at a downtown hotel. Everyone was dressed to the nines. I was wearing a dark green silk dress that draped elegantly, holding a flute of cheap champagne and trying to blend into the wallpaper. Benedict was across the room, surrounded by board members and investors. He looked devastating in a classic tuxedo. Every time our eyes met across the crowded room, a jolt of pure electricity shot through me. Leah had been drinking heavily. She had spent the last month simmering with resentment because Benedict had systematically started bypassing her to ask for my input on campaigns. She wasn't an idiot. She knew something was shifting. Around 10 p.m., I slipped out to the balcony for some fresh air. A minute later, the heavy glass door opened and clicked shut. Benedict stepped out into the cool night air. "You're avoiding me," he murmured, coming to stand beside me at the railing. "I'm preserving our jobs," I corrected, looking out at the city lights. "I hate this," he said quietly. He reached out, his pinky finger hooking onto mine, hidden from view by the shadows. "I want to dance with you. I want to hold your hand in front of everyone. I don't want to be your dirty little secret anymore, Lauren." My heart squeezed. He sounded so genuine, so remarkably vulnerable. The confident CEO facade was gone. This was just my guy. "Soon, I promise softly. Just give me until the quarterly reviews next month. Once I secure my promotion to senior strategist on my own merit, we can go public. Then no one can say I didn't earn it." He sighed, squeezing my finger.
"Fine.
1 more month. But tonight, I'm taking you to my place, and I'm not letting you leave until Monday." I smiled, turning to look at him. "Is that a threat, Mr. Thompson?" "It's a promise, miss." Well. We both snapped apart like magnets, violently repelled. Standing in the doorway to the balcony, holding a half-empty martini glass, was Leah. Her face was flushed, her eyes gleaming with triumphant malice. "I knew it," she slurred, stepping out onto the balcony. "I knew there was a reason you were suddenly the golden girl. Skipping the chain of command. Getting your proposals fast-tracked. You're sleeping with him." Panic seized my throat. "Leah, you're drunk. Let's go inside." "Shut up, Lauren," she snapped. "You sneaky little tramp. Acting all innocent while you spread your legs for the VP. I'm going to HR first thing on Monday. Let's see how long you keep your job when the board finds out you're violating the fraternization policy." "Leah, enough." Benedict's voice was like a whip crack. The temperature on the balcony seemed to drop 10 degrees. He stepped in front of me, shielding me from her view. "You will not speak to her that way." "Or what? You'll fire me?" Leah laughed bitterly. "That'll look great in my wrongful termination lawsuit. VP fires loyal manager to protect his secret girlfriend." My stomach dropped. She was right. If this blew up, it would be a massive scandal for Benedict. He was the son of the chairman. His reputation had to be spotless. The board would crucify him, and they would definitely fire me. "Benedict," I whispered, touching his arm. "Let's just leave it."
"No."
Benedict didn't break eye contact with Leah. His posture was terrifyingly calm. "Go ahead, Leah. Go to HR. In fact, why wait until Monday? The head of HR is right inside by the bar. Shall I fetch her for you?" Leah faltered, confused by his lack of fear. "You think I won't?" "I think you will," Benedict said smoothly. "And when you do, I will gladly inform HR that I have been pursuing Lauren relentlessly for 2 years. Long before she was ever assigned to my department's projects. I will tell them that I am entirely at fault for any breach of protocol, as I am the superior officer who initiated the relationship." My jaw dropped. He was throwing himself entirely under the bus. "And," Benedict continued, his voice turning deadly soft, "while we're chatting with HR, I'll be sure to bring up the files I had IT recover from your computer yesterday. The ones showing you explicitly passing off junior employees' work as your own for the last 3 years. A direct violation of the company's code of ethics." Leah's face drained of color. The glass in her hand trembled. You can't. I'm the vice president. I have access to everything." Benedict lied without blinking. I knew for a fact he hadn't asked IT to do that. He was just bluffing using the complaints I had ranted to him about online. But Leah didn't know that. "If you ever speak to Lauren like that again," Benedict said, stepping closer to Leah, causing her to shrink back against the glass door, "or if you breathe a word of this to anyone, I won't just fire you. I will make sure you never work in corporate marketing in this city again. Do we understand each other?" Leah swallowed hard, terrified. She gave a jerky nod, turned on her heel, and fled back inside the ballroom. Silence fell over the balcony. My hands were shaking. Benedict turned to me, his cold fury instantly melting away. "Are you okay?" "You're a psychopath," I breathed out. He offered a small, sheepish smile. "I prefer a protective partner." Was it too much? It was terrifying. And kind of hot, I admitted. Finally letting out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "But Benedict, you can't do that. You can't just bully my boss into silence. We can't hide like this anymore. It's toxic." "I know," he said softly, stepping close and cupping my face in his hands. "I know. That's why I'm not hiding anymore." Before I could ask what he meant, he took my hand, laced his fingers tightly through mine, and pulled me toward the door. "What are you doing?" I asked as he pushed the glass door open. "Ending the charade." He led me straight from the dark balcony into the blinding lights of the ballroom. I tried to tug my hand away, but his grip was firm. People began to turn. Conversations trailed off. We walked right through the center of the room. I saw the head of HR drop her jaw. I saw Leah standing by the bar, looking like she might pass out. I saw the CEO, Benedict's father, raise an eyebrow from his VIP table. Benedict didn't stop until we reached the center of the room. He turned to me, completely ignoring the hundreds of eyes staring at us, and gently brushed a piece of hair from my cheek. "Benedict, everyone is looking," I whispered, my face burning. "Let them," he said. He leaned down and pressed a soft, lingering kiss to my lips. It wasn't rushed or hidden. It was a clear, undeniable claim. When he pulled back, a low murmur had broken out across the room. He turned toward his father's table, gave a polite nod, and then looked back at me. "Come on," he said, a playful glint returning to his eyes. "I believe I promised you a weekend at my place." 1 year later. "Babe, tilt the camera up. You're cutting off your head." "Like this?"
"Yes."
"Now flex." I lay back on my plush living room sofa, chewing on a grape as I watched my boyfriend on my phone screen. Benedict was currently in a hotel gym in Tokyo on a business trip, standing in front of the mirror in a perfectly fitted black tank top. "I feel ridiculous." His voice came through the speaker, accompanied by a heavy sigh. "I'm 28 years old. I'm the executive vice president, and I'm taking thirst traps for my fiancé. It's in the contract." I reminded him cheerfully, holding up my left hand to admire the diamond ring sparkling on my ring finger. "You promised me gym videos for life. Don't go back on your word now, Thompson." He chuckled, a deep, raspy sound that still made my toes curl. He posed, snapped the photo, and hit send. My phone buzzed immediately. "Perfect," I said, saving it to a locked folder on my phone. A lot had changed in a year. The fallout from the gala had been surprisingly anticlimactic. When HR called us in, Benedict handled it flawlessly. He disclosed the relationship, stepped back from any direct oversight of my department, and frankly, nobody cared. His father was just thrilled Benedict actually had a personal life. I got my promotion. Leah, realizing her days of stealing credit were over and terrified of Benedict's bluff, quietly resigned 2 months later and moved to a different state. I now had her office. "I miss you," Benedict said, walking out of the gym frame and bringing the phone close to his face. He looked tired, but happy. "This hotel is too quiet." "I miss you too," I smiled. "When does your flight land tomorrow?" 4 p.m. "And I'm coming straight home. Don't make any plans." "Wouldn't dream of it. Just me, you, and maybe that gray sweatpants outfit you packed." Benedict rolled his eyes, but I could see the blush creeping up his neck even through the pixelated video call. "You are a menace, Lauren." "I'm your menace," I replied. "Yeah," he smiled softly, the VP armor completely stripped away, leaving only the man who had loved me from behind a screen before he ever saw my face. "You are. See you tomorrow, Spicy Noodles 88. "Don't call me that," I groaned, but he had already hung up, leaving me laughing in the quiet of our shared apartment. Money, power, fame, and lust. I looked around our beautiful home, glanced at my promotion letter on the desk, and opened the new photo he had just sent me. Turns out, if you're lucky enough, you really can have it all.